Okay, I'll do a little quick show and tell on these seats and how they work. Originally, they had a little mechanism like this on one side. A little pin that slides in and out. On the other side, they have a pin. And you slip that pin into a hole over here. And over here, you depress that little mechanism, it allows you to slip the other pin in over here. On this one, that pin mechanism was all frozen up, so what I did was just put a little, I just basically cut it off and put a little pin in it. Same thing over there. You'll notice right now this seat kind of hits right here, but that one is sitting on a little block of wood underneath it. You could do the same thing here, put a little block of wood under there so it's not laying back so far. Or I could adjust that plate in the floor if I wanted to have it go back that far, but I probably don't. So next thing I'm going to do here is cover these seats. And these are missing a lot of things like these springs and these hooks. I'm going to use little nylon ties to tie these springs together across there. I think those will work just fine. And then I'm going to put a coat of padding on there, and then I'm going to make my first attempt at putting on seat covers. I've never done that before. It'll be a new experience for me, but we'll see how that goes. I noticed both these seats kind of lean in a little bit. I'm wondering if I swapped sides if they'd fit better. I'm going to try swapping that one over to here. I think it does make more sense this way. Let me get in it. When you swap the seats out, it actually kind of makes more sense. They do sit at a little bit of an angle, but it makes it easier to get in and out, and it puts your right foot up to the gas pedal. I actually feel like now that I could, that's up in the very first hole, but I might could move that back a notch. It might not need to be in that very first hole. Now, I can also adjust how far back this leans. Basically, I have the back of it sitting on a board. If I take the board out, it's going to lean back more. I might try that later, but before I do that, I'm going to go to work on this seat. Alrighty, I'm out in the camper. I went over to steal his reel and got it inspected, and while I was over there, I went and bought me some padding to go on the Crosley seat, and I bought some hog rings to attach those seat covers, and I bought a battery for Honey Baby's little Volkswagen, because the battery she's got in there right now is the battery that goes in the boat, and we're going to want to get the boat out and be using it this year. So my thinking is I'm going to go back home. I believe I might take the, I got some seat frames that are pretty rusty, and I might just soak them down in vinegar to kind of eat the rust off of them. I have a pressure washer that belonged to Trish's brother, and I don't know when it was cranked last, but it looks pretty good. Somebody laid it over, and it might have oil in the carburetor or in the cylinder or something because all the oil spilled out of it. But I was thinking if I could get that pressure washer going, if I soak the seats down good in vinegar and then use that pressure washer to spray them off with, that would be good. And then maybe coat them with some 415, those seat springs and things, and then wrap the edges up with a little Gorilla Tape so the sharp edges won't hurt them new seat covers. Then put that new padding on there, and then put those new seat covers on there, and then put them all in place with the hog rings. And I also ordered, well, I sound like I'm spending a lot of money, but I'm really not. I also ordered a couple new seat belts for it because the seat belts are in there. One of them's cut and the other one don't work. So I found a couple of cheap seat belts online, and I have that padding to go in the floor. So I was thinking it'd be nice to put that padding in the floor, put the new seat belts in, get the seats covered, put them in. That way, if someone's sitting in there, the likelihood of them falling out is not so great. You know, I rode around with Trish the other day, and somebody made a comment it wouldn't take much to fall out of one of them, and they're kind of right, you know, it wouldn't. So we got a car show coming up, and this fella I know is going to be bringing his kid, and he wants to ride in the car, and I was thinking, well, if we got a seatbelt for him, he'd certainly be a lot safer and all. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't know how much of this I'm going to get done today. Probably not much of it, because it's already about 3 o'clock and I've been going all day cutting grass and getting inspected, the payment taxes, and the registered the camper and all this stuff. But tomorrow we're going over to the rifle club and going to be taking an orientation to their outdoor shooting range. And I'm not sure how long that will take, but then after that maybe I'll have some more time to work on the seats, get the pressure washer going. I'm trying to think, I've got other things on my list of things to do, but those are just some of the things on my list that I might work on. So give that a shot. We'll see how it goes from there. Okay? Okay. See y'all. Well, I'll be the first to admit this is pretty much trial and error. Basically, my goal was to try to keep all the springs kind of lined up with each other evenly across. It's doesn't look much now, but I'm gonna get a piece of foam and put on it, and then we're gonna try a seat cover on it and see how. I've heard a lot of hot rod guys in the past talk about I did it myself, and it may not be professional, but I'm proud of it. I kind of feel that way about that seat. It's not professional, but I'm proud of it because I did it myself. So I've got 2 little screws here. Let's hope they're in good shape and that they come out without dismembering themselves. So, in looking at this, those two bolts there, the heads are just about stripped, and it occurred to me that it's probably easier to get that manifold off of there. Two bolts right there and two bolts right there than it is to remove that pipe from the manifold. And I've got two manifolds out in the shed that Cutworm gave me, both of which fit this. I think what I'll do instead is, it looks like about a 5/8, so I'm gonna see if I can pop those 4 bolts loose. If I can, I'll go get that manifold out of the shed and I'll put that pipe on it and put that on there. Oh, the joy! So these little Crosley seats actually come out pretty quick and easy. Basically just pull the pin out of one side. I think I'll pop this one out and we'll clean it up first. I'm probably going to want something to work on, so I think I'll drag that table that's sitting up in there out, get it out behind the Crosley, and I'll work on that. The other thing I was going to do is get that pressure washer out of there, and I guess I might as well do that too, since it's kind of in the way. Get up here. Okay, so we will let that dry overnight. I'm going to use some little nylon twist ties. This used to have springs and hooks to kind of keep all these lined up with each other. You can see some of the hooks and springs here. And of course, over the time, they've gotten old and rusted and fell out. So I'll probably use some twist ties just to tie this all up, get it all in the line. And then I'll put some of that padding over it, and then I'll slide these seat covers on it. Like I said earlier, I bought some hog rings to clamp these into place, so I'm hoping I'm hoping I can make that work out nice. We will see. I've never done seat covers before, so it'll be a new experience for me and for y'all too. So we'll see how it goes. See you now. I learned a few things that made this easier, I think. I've been using these little twist ties underneath the seat. Put a hog ring in them and tie this, pull the seat where the seat needs to be pulled. And I don't think that they will wear out or rust out like these metal pieces would. I think they'll be in there for as long as they need to be in there. So I think that's a pretty neat little trick. Back in the day, people that did upholstery didn't have twist ties. They're pretty neat for things like tying off the springs and tying off the seats. I know that's not a super perfect job, but I think it's really good. I'm going to put this back part on. I've learned, the first one I had way too much foam, so I've learned to make sure not to put so much foam on these seats. We'll see how that works out. So this was the seat I had. Cutworm threw a bunch of rags in a dog food bag and had that seat with the raw springs and had this dog food bag sitting on the bottom of it. These are the seats I got now. They're a little puffy looking, but I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. Yeah. There's a cool thing going on. I've been pinging. Cutworm's got I can instant message him. What am I trying to say? I can send him a text with a picture in it. So every time I do something in this car, I send him a picture, and then he sends me back, and we've been having a conversation going since before we did this whole thing, and it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying Cutworm a lot. I really am. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. This is a lot more fun than just having an old car. It's having a real good friendship that I'm sharing with Cutworm, and that makes it all worthwhile. He said these seats came out of a famous car, a famous show car. And I said, Cut, they're still in a famous show car. It's in the Cut's Peak Special here. So sure is. Anyway, so that's good. I'm going to move the truck and clean this stuff up. Maybe we'll take the little girl for a ride. That'd be a lot of fun on the new seats. I got new seat belts to go in it too. I might change them up too. Alright, so I just realized there's 2 more bolts underneath here that are going to be really hard to get through. This car has a electric water pump mounted down there under one of the bolts. The other might not be too bad to get to from the bottom. There's a water hose that comes out of the side of the motor that's going to block me from reaching across and getting that other one. And you can't get a socket on it. It's going to have to be done with a box-in wrench. You might can get a box-in wrench on it and come back out this way and get a little swing, but that's going to be tough. So that's got me wondering now, which way to go. And to be honest with you, at this point it might be worth considering just heating these nuts up and seeing if I can get them to start turning. I don't think there's any way to get to that from the top. And of course when that manifold comes off, the intake and the exhaust are going to come off, which is good in a way. I've got a really nice, I don't know if it's stainless or aluminum, but I've got a nice little manifold that Steve gave me, intake and exhaust. It's nicer than this. So it would be good to get the whole thing off, replace it. I'm going to go to church, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to decide which way to go after that. Okay. Y'all have a good day at church yourself. So my neighbor's got an old 650 Yamaha motorcycle out back for sale. I was looking at it yesterday and I was thinking the size of the muffler on that motorcycle is very near to the size of this pipe, which is the exhaust pipe for the Crosley. So I'm going to go yank that pipe off there. I told my neighbor I'd buy it from him. See if I can, well I know I can, adapt that muffler onto this pipe. Use it for a muffler on this one. That'd be cheaper than buying a new one, no matter what a new one costs. I don't think I can get any cheaper than what I'm paying for that one. Now I'll run back there and we'll do that right quick. Raining today. Good day to work inside on the Crosley, I guess. So here's what we got. That's the motorcycle muffler. This is the Crosley pipe. It is smaller than that. Probably going to take a little shimming up to make it fit perfectly, but still it's going to fit pretty well, close enough, and make it work. So in order to leave myself plenty of room to work with, I'm going to cut it up here just above the bend. That way I've got plenty of room to slide it on and off, trim it down, do whatever I need to do, and we'll kind of work from there. I'll let y'all watch, find y'all a watching point over here somewhere. And my shop has gotten really messy lately. We can do with cleaning up. But cleaning up takes time, and I'd rather be enjoying it. Okay, that's a good place to start. Next thing is I want to, I'll get a flashlight so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to want to unscrew the old manifold, get them bolts loose without doing it. Alrighty, I succeeded in getting that one that we could see off. In fact, it came off. You can see it right there. It came off quite easily. Once I turned it a little bit, I was able to spin it around with my fingers. Piece of cake. There's one more under there, and I may try leaning over the hood and see if I can get a short 1/2-inch wrench up under there. And if not, I'll see if I can pop that water pump off. Alrighty, success has been had. I got it off of there without having to take that water pump off, and only had to make 3 special tools to do it. This short wrench, I was able to reach up under that manifold to get that one hard screw out with. That's a 1/2. This is a 9/16 that I woggled the end of it down so I could reach down in over here between this and that and get that one off. And then I needed this one to back it out the rest of the way, which is basically, I just made them a lot skinnier. And I rounded that one off quite a lot. And this one I just sawed half in two. But it's opposite. Okay, so here's where we're at now. I've got the front of my Crosley flying in the air. This jack here will, if it comes up under the car, it either hits the outside of the body like here, or I thought about laying a piece of a 2x4 under here, but there's things like, there's a brake master cylinder hanging down and some things like that. And I thought, well, rather than mess with all that, I just put the back wheels up on the lift and I got the front jacked up. And the part I need to get to is the motor up in here, which I think I can reach pretty well with that like that. So I'm going to lay a blanket down under there and slide up under there. What I'm going to be trying to get loose, and I can show you on this manifold out here. Okay, this is one of those old, I guess they call this the Cobra engine, and this is the underside of it. So what I have out of mine is these two bolts, and these two bolts are loose, and I got to get these two bolts. Well, these two bolts under here, on mine there's an alternator up here, there's an electric water pump back here, and there's a water pipe that comes out of here that goes to that water pump. Actually, this is upside down, because this is the piston. No, that's right, this is right, this is upside down. The valve cover's up there, so I'll be coming up under the motor and basically trying to get these two loose right here. Now if I can get, and from here it looks like I could almost get a socket on that one if I had a short enough socket. So what I'm going to be trying to do is go up under there. See, I can't get a straight extension. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do. That's why I got it up in the air, is because I'm going to need to get under it and we're going to figure it out. That's the plan. So I'll find me something to lay on. We'll go under that baby. So I had to fabricate a tool. You'll notice most of these wrenches have a fairly fat head. And what I did was I ground one down very small, because over here in this motor, the part that I'm trying to get loose, which you can't see unless I can hold the light, which I can, down in here between all of these things. So by grinding this very small, I can slip that over into here, and I can get a hold of that and spin that. I've already turned it a little. What I may wind up doing is I might open up this other side too, but let's see if I can get more than I've already got a little bit of a turn there. Yeah, see, that's turning, and as it turns it'll come loose, and as it comes loose I'll be able to move the manifold out. This one over here, the same thing. I got the wrench onto it and got it to turn. There. So that one's turning, and these two on the ends are loose. So this one on this end is a 1/2 inch, and I can get a socket right onto it. Thought it was a 1/2 inch. Was I wrong? I'm pretty sure that is a 1/2 inch. What do I got on here? Thought I had a 1/2. Maybe it's not deep enough. Probably not deep enough. So, let me grab some different tools. So I've made pretty good progress with this. I did have to modify my tools a bit, This is the one that I used to get those started coming out, and then this is the one I used to reach in there like this. And I've only got one more left to get out, and the manifold should be ready to come out. It's probably stuck. I think this one is finger tight right here. Yeah, it is. I can turn that one with my finger. So I think the manifold is probably going to be stuck, but I can bop it out. I don't know if I've got a gasket. Steve sent me some gaskets, so I'll check and see if I got one. Yeah, so we'll go from there. That was pretty hard, but to put it into perspective, it was a lot easier than changing the oil filter on that Ford. Some of y'all might remember that. And it was a heck of a lot easier than the time I tried to get the spark plugs out of my neighbor's plow truck with that 318 with the little tubes that were rusted down into the heads. A lot easier than that. It's on there. I'm just going to put the carburetor back on there. I'm going to hang the new exhaust pipe on there and just going to start it up just so I can hear it run. And then I'm going to cut it off because we're going out for Mother's Day dinner. The grandkids, one of the grandkids is making dinner for Trish tonight, and I got just about enough time to slip this carburetor on there before I need to go start cleaning up. So I'm going to do that, we'll crank it, and then it'll take off. Okay, I got that muffler on there. I don't know if I quieted it down all that much or not. It still seems pretty loud, but it's on there. So let's just take a listen. Try that again. I think the camera quit about the time I got the car going. I moved these seats back, by the way. That made things a lot better. Easier to get in and out of that way. Alright, this is me from up under the little Crosley. That is one of the bolts I want to get out, and that one doesn't look too hard. The other one is up under and over the back side of this thing here, which I can touch. If that isn't too tight, on that. I don't know how I'm going to get that off there, but I might be able to. I suppose I can work on one. And then we can look at the other. Yeah, there's the head of that bolt right there. So let's see, and I may wind up taking this off. I'm not exactly sure how this is mounted. looks like there's a couple of bolts that go in, maybe bolted to the side of the motor there. And these screws right here. There's two screws down here that look like they're threaded into this block. It may be that I could unbolt this and without draining the water out, just move this over. So let's just say, for example, and actually these two down here, they look like they would slide out if they were loosened up, slide out of that rubber casement. It may be that I can loosen two similar bolts on top and slide that out of the way. Worst case scenario, I'd have to drain out the antifreeze and get the water out of it. But let's go up top and look at what's up there. See, there's two similar screws right there. So it looks to me like if I take a screwdriver, I can unscrew that water pump and slosh it over to one side. Let's try loosening the one that I can reach first. Let's see what we can find that we need over here. I think that's going to be could be a 9/16. Right. Let's go up under there and look at it. I'm gonna probably not. I don't know if I'm gonna take y'all under there with me or not. I can try it. Worst thing that can happen is I need to throw away some videos. Right. Ooh, look at the dirt dauber's nest. I noticed there was a wasp nest in that other fender over there earlier too. That must be a 1/2 inch. Okay. 1/2 inch it is. So now, let's see, did I show y'all that pretty? Cutworm gave me some really nice parts, some of which y'all haven't seen. You saw me unload the truck, but I kept the real treasures inside here. I've got right here, I think, an entire engine gasket kit. I've got here this gorgeous little intake manifold, which I'm going to put back on there. I've got other things in here, some I haven't even opened. This is a mirror, this is a set of rings, this is a set of dash gauge decals. And this is a, let's see, I think I need to remember, but I can't remember. Oh, that's a fuel tank sending unit. And this is just full of goodies that I haven't even, windshield wipers, lots of little hot shot chrome plate things. There's a gasket right there I might can use for that carburetor gaskets. I know I've got some hot shot emblems around here somewhere. Ooh, look at that. That looks like a windshield wiper arm part. Oh, that's just a dash box. Dang, Honeybay was asking me last night, and I said, well, I could make one, but there's one right there already. Well, I got other stuff, but this, I think that and that go together. And then I'm going to need the gaskets to go along under here, the exhaust gaskets and the intake gaskets. So the other thing I need to do is grab the exhaust out here. I think I'm going to take this one. It's got squirrel's nest in it and stuff. Yeah, I think I'll take that one around there and we'll pop out off. Look at me toting a Crosley engine with one hand. This is one of those old, they talk about these a lot, these pressed tin, brazed together things that rusted out. These were some of the earlier engines, and they didn't last too well. That's before they started making them out of cast iron. Cutworm said this one had what he called the Cobra valve covers. I mean, look at them. Yeah. That one says Crosley. Oh, look. Look at that. Oh. Yeah, that's special right there. I can't exactly see what it says, but it's something special. I'll have to take a closer look at that. I'm guessing that is going to be the same as that. Appears to be. I bet those are all going to be 9/16. Okay. I'll get that apart. Alrighty, I've got the manifold on here, and I've got me a couple of stud bolts in it here, and I've got a gasket on there. When I went to put the pipe on, it didn't exactly fit. It hits where it goes up under the car here. So I bent it a little here, and I'm going to heat it and bend it a little bit more here, and then I'll probably have to rebend this under the car, but we'll take that a step at a time. Okay then, so now the pipe is in place. There it is right there, and so I've bent it enough so that it clears the bottom of the car. Ooh, that's not the right angle, but that's okay, because with that we can work. So what I need to do is bend it back up right along in here somewhere. I think I'm gonna get me something to mark with and mark that spot. Call it a day. I got to go back to work tomorrow, and it's kind of unusually chilly. Notice my hat, my big sweatshirt. But I did a lot this last few days, and I think it's about time to kind of go in and collect my thoughts and get ready for the week ahead. So, with that said, I guess I'll see y'all next time we have a day off. So, didn't get around to working on this, but I'll keep it with that Crosley in there. I still got room to put a bunch of junk behind it. I'll keep this out here where we can get to it, and I pulled my torches out because I'm going to sell them. So I'll throw them things on Craigslist, see if anybody wants them, and let the cart go with it. That will get one more thing out of my way out here that takes up space. I had a guy come today to look at the Volkswagen bodies, and he didn't take them. He was an interesting feller though. He has a rat rod and a custom. He had a lot of cars. He's a car guy. Pretty interesting. We enjoyed each other's company. So anyway, alrighty then. I'll see y'all later on. Hope you have a good, like I say, hope you have a good week. Okay, I decided to go with a smaller bolt rather than making a bigger hole. That should work just fine. Go. Alrighty, so I got those in, so I'm going to toss the seat back in, and then we're going to kind of test them, make sure they're big enough to fit around me and all. Okay, here's an interesting development. These seat belts aren't big enough. Dang. I'll show you a trick that some of you might know and some of you might not. When you're trying to put a bolt, thread a bolt into something that's been threaded but it's not going, it's old, it's rusty, it's clogged up, it's crapped up, you can get out a tap and die set and cut a set of threads down in there, or you can take a bolt that you know that fits and cut a groove in it like that, which is what I did with this grinding wheel, holding it with these pair of vice grips. And then you can thread that down in there, and that groove will kind of that little notch kind of recuts the threads. You want to do this gently because obviously you don't want to screw something down in there and break it off. And what I've been doing is working this in, taking it back out, working it back in, taking it back out. Every time I take it out, I clean that groove out. So I'm cleaning that stuff because it'll collect dirt and crud and stuff in those threads. What I'm doing is basically I'm rethreading this without using a tap and die set or cutting tool. I'm just basically have turned, you can see the bottom of that thread is coming through the bottom of that now. What we've done here is we have basically recut that so that the proper size bolt still fits it. When that comes out, the notch is going to be right full of dirt to the point where you can't even see it anymore. You still got a notch there. It's just dirty to the point where usually what I do is take my fingernail, clean it out, push all the dirt out. I've actually got 2 notches in this one. I notched one on each side. And I'll see how that dirt all into my finger. That's what came out of there, is dirt and crud and grime and gunk. And put it back in over here, and we'll do the same thing. You can see that thread just coming through the bottom of that, so I've actually gone all the way through that now. I'll get my card cleaner and blow that crud off the bottom of that. Hey, it's raining outside. Dang. Oh, spray upside down. I'm going to run this back into the other side now. And I'll do the same thing. I'll take and knock the grime. If I can do it with this. That's good. Now that manifold's ready to go back on there. I shouldn't say back on there, but it's ready to go on there. Let's see if I can find me another one of these nuts. nuts, bolts. Alright, I'm going to change out that other belt for two reasons. One, it looks better than the other one, but the other one, the other one is long enough. And with that one, it's so long, I'm going to have a kid riding in this car in a few weeks, and it's so long I might not be able to adjust it up tight enough. So I'm going to pop the bolt out, and take that old one out and put the new one in right quick. That one's a little hard to get to. You have to reach way up under the car to reach it. It's doable because it is such a small car, but it takes a bit of doing to make it work. Let's take her for a ride. Okay, here's an interesting development. These seat belts aren't big enough. Dang. I guess I'm buying cheap seat belts, I guess, but there is a fix. This seat belt won't reach to there unless I want to lose about 20 or 30 pounds. However, this seat belt, the new one, fits the old end. Look at that. So the old end on this side is pretty trashed. See, right there and right there. But maybe there's a way to attach this and this together. On this side, I think if I do that outside belt, I can use this side here for the passenger seat. And this right here. I'm going to have to study on this thing some to see what we can do and how we can make anything work here. Might be able to salvage a piece of the old seat belt from the other side. It's pretty awful, but I don't know. That ain't what I was hoping for right there. I suppose if I move the seat belts forward, that ain't gonna make me happy right there, I'm afraid. You know, there might be a fix. I ordered some more of these type seat belts for the Ford. They're probably going to be too short for it too, but I might could take two of them and hook them together. Let me go see what I can do. Let's see what I can come up with. Okay, I figured out how to make this work. Basically, I need this to be longer. It looks just like this one. What I can do is I can get me a little piece of chain, put a bolt through, hook one end right here, and run the other end out and put a bolt through the floor. That will lengthen this by a bit. It's not the fix I was hoping to make, but it's not that hard to do. And it's pretty quick and easy. Okay, news flash. Ha! I don't know what I did, but I raised the seat up and I put it back. I got back in here. I was going to attach a piece of chain. And I was going to measure this, and now it fits. I'm guessing. I bet you the back side of this was hung under the seat. I bet it was. And when I raised the seat up and put it back down, I've got enough and a little to spare. Isn't that interesting? Okay, I guess it always helps to take a second look at things. So, now on this other side, I get to decide whether I want to keep this old belt since it fits and it is longer, or go with a new one. I know that for that side over there, I'm going to need a new one because this one is all ratted up. So I'll pop that one out. We'll put that new little short piece in there. I may wind up leaving this one like it is. We'll see. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna put the new seat belts in the Crosley, and the first thing I'm gonna do is just back it out of here. Okay, from there, this is going to be pretty quick and simple and easy. I got some old seat belts in here that ain't much. Here's an example. See, that's a little bit hard to deal with. And I got some new seat belts that I've ordered to put in here. So, and I think this would be a lot easier if I just pop that seat out. Y'all, I showed y'all the other day how easy it is to get the seat out. Basically, there's a little pin here. All I have to do is pull that piece of wire out. The pin pops out, and then the seat pops out. I got it. Hold the joint. This gives me a pretty good space to get to where that seat belt mount is. So let's work on that. I think that'll be a 7/8. Take that back, that's going to be a 3/4. Yep. On this side, now there's probably another hole with a bolt up underneath here. That's going to be a 3/4 also. I'll squirt a little slippery juice on that. Oh, let's see what we got. Got a handy by. A bunch of slippery juice around here that's made for that. Let me find it. Put y'all on hold for 2 seconds while I locate. Okay, I found my slippery juice. It was right behind me. Like my mama used to say, she used to say if it was a snake, it would bite you. Yeah, there it is. So, we got a socket. socket, and I got a 3/4 box in with put for that. Cutworm gave me these big old seatbelt washers. Make the hole a little bit bigger to use one of them. If I got room for one under here. Not so much, but I think I got some washers that are a little bigger than what I got that would still work very well for that. Let me get the seat belts out that we won't be using. Probably we're going to want to go like this. Well, you got this thing on this side. Probably like that. It's too big for that too. Maybe I should just find me a little smaller one. Since both of them's a little extra biggish. Let's see what I can locate. Let's talk a little bit about sound. Sound ricochets. In other words, if it hits something, it bounces and goes in the other direction. That's why you get an echo. I have used this stuff. It's basically brass wire mesh to make mufflers in my hot rod. I rolled up a bunch of it and I stuck it up in there. Put a motorcycle baffle into the end of the pipe to hold it. Basically doing the same thing here. I've got this motorcycle muffler for the rat rod, the Crosley muffler. I've rolled up a few pieces of this and put up in there, and then I'm going to put this bolt, screw this bolt down in there where it won't come out. I'm also going to weld a cap over the end of this so that the exhaust has to turn and go down, because that's also creating an echo. And this muffler comes out under the car almost right into a frame cross member, so I don't want those gases blowing on that cross member. I want the fire, the heat, the exhaust to have to come down. And also by changing the direction of that in that way, it will also quiet it some, because just like noise echoes off of something like this, it's going to echo off something like that. I believe it'll make it quieter. It's a yeah, we'll try it. So right after I made that cut, Honey Baby came out here and she said, "Did you know the power's off?" And I said, "No." And we checked around and the power is going to be off until, for about 3 or 4 hours. So I can't weld the little piece on the end of here. And I was just looking at the end of this old Ford spring. I was looking at that and I was thinking, man, that just almost would fit. If I put that on there and chopped it right across the bottom, well, it would just about weld right in place there. But guess what? I suppose I could weld it with gas, but I doubt if it'd stay on there very long, since I'm not very much of a gas welder. So I'm looking at things I can do without power for a little while. Alright, so I got 2 or 3 pieces of that stuff rolled up along the inside of this. A little bit that stuck out. I put this screw through there. There's already a screw threaded there, I think, for support purposes, and I just put one all the way through. That keeps those things from blowing out. And then I'm going to tap that little piece on the end. Tack that little piece on the end of here, so that when the gas comes out, it has to go down instead of, won't let it come back. That will just muffle it a little more, but it'll also keep that hot gas from blowing right on that frame cross member. I'm not going to have pipes out the back of the car. If I do, I would kind of take all this bent up pipe off that I bent and start fresh and go from front to back. But this might be interesting to see what it sounds like with a little homemade mufflerage going on there. So with that said, I'm going to look into what other projects I can get into with no power. Honey Baby said she's going to cook breakfast on the grill, so that should be extra good. We'll see how that goes. You know, I was sitting here contemplating all of this and that, and it occurred to me that both my welder and my grinder are 110. I got 2 generators back there. Both of them will do 110 and more. That big generator will do 220. But even that little red generator that I got cranking last year, got running, that'll do. I think I'm gonna get it out. It's back in here, way up in front of the Ford, way up stuck in a cubby hole. Hadn't been cranked since last time, but it ran great last time I used it. That's it right there. Shoot, I just get that thing. Let's see if it'll fire up. Ooh. Take a guess there. And I can walk out of here without scunning up the Ford. I'm going to put y'all down so I can lift this up high. I don't want to hit it on the side of the car. Alright, I'm going to take it for a ride. I had an issue with this the other day where the fuel pump might have quit pumping. It wouldn't crank, and then it did crank, and then I realized it had an electric fuel pump, and I didn't do much to it, but it got straightened out. I just want to test it a little bit. If I'm going to have any problems with it, I'd rather have them when I'm expecting to, when I'm thinking I might. Does that make any sense? Maybe. warm her up a little bit.